dili ko pikas PC kay wala ko .NET sa ako ang isa ka sa akong laptop. Anyway, so good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon programmers. So again, as I've told you, we're going to make it practical and straightforward manner na atong course because we only have 6 weeks. So for the coverage of our examination, written and hands-on examination, these are here, no? I mean uploaded here. So we have SCP-1. So what's inside of SCP-1? Yeah, by the way, wait. Oy, di na ko lagi ma-open. Anyway, with this one, this were the, or I mean, this was the PowerPoint that I have used last time when we discussed online, no, during our synchronous classes. And with the SCP-1, let's see what's inside of which. This is actually about system integration. So let us open this one. Wait. Here. Ayan. SCP-1. Ayan. So for those who are online, I just hope no you are able to read this one. I mean, you're able to hear me out. Madunggan ba ko? Am I audible? Asidilia, Alforque, Niedo, Raymond, and Jimwell. Madunggan ko ninyo?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, that's good.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so very good. Thank you. So in most cases, integrative programming and technologies are all about different programming techniques and scriptings or scripting languages. No, so we have just chosen one language for this course, and that is the .NET. No, anyway, you are free to choose any other programming languages, but of course we're going to only focus on one for now. So the idea is that we're going to do system integration, particularly in your from your database. Now we are going to integrate it in a programming. Okay, so most definitely, why do we need to do system integration? So it's actually here. I would like you to review on these things. So number one, it's about flexibility. So as we all know, no, when we talk about the flexibility in an application that we're creating, it's about making a system or a good system integrated into an appropriate application, which usually we call it as a middleware, which a middleware provides a flexibility, no, in which the business logic and then the data are going to meet together. So when we talk about business logic, these are usually if conditions. No, so since we talk about since it is business logic, it's actually referred to a business operations. Whatever instructions that you're going to write or you're going to implement or invoke once you get into uh, like uh, like fetching data, populating data from your getting or fetching data from your from what they call this one from a database, no, from a database server, and then going back to your programming. Okay, and the next and second is the speed. No, the idea is that of course efficiency is becoming a standard. No, so most likely and most definitely, kung kamo no, even when you have, let's say, you want to have, I mean, mag-enroll mo sa Janpol, you want it na mas faster ang inyong turnaround time. No? Let's say if you have like hundreds or thousands of students, kumbaga simultaneously going there just to get and add subjects, no? And i-enroll to ninyo and simultaneous siya, or let's say daghan, no? Daghan ang nag-fall in line or naka-queue. So with that, efficiency is now a standard. That is why, as an agent of technology, or in our era, most likely or most of the companies today are converting into their manual operations into automations. And one way to address that is, of course, as a programmers, will need to develop a system across different technologies, no, to speed up the process. And one way to do that is, of course, choosing a specific language, and then planning well your data transmission, and by actually data mapping, no, you'll start with data mapping. And that's especially pag mga transactional processing system, we do data mapping, and will have to gather what entities or the data are actually involved in the workflow or the process of the operations. And that's where you can now choose whatever server or database server you're going to use, or a programming that you're going to use. Okay, so uh, in terms of speed, of course, the quality and the speed of software is going to decline. So naga-decline siya, it's because it's normal. Now, even we have, like sa cellphone, no, even if we have the most powerful processor today, in the future, it will now become obsolete. Then most definitely, ang mahitabuan na is dili na siya ang pinaka faster in terms of speed. Okay, so that's number two. And then number three is the cost, no, of course, every time we create a software, every time we want to implement a new means of data storage, every time we implement or deploy a new system, there is always a cost. So first is, of course, no, you will have to really invest in terms of mga software and whatever purchases that you're going to acquire, no, within your company. Ayan. Then we'll have standardization. This is very important as we create applications that na everyone, number one, di ba, I have always told you that everyone should speak the same language, especially if you are working as a team. So you really have to speak the same language, because you are as one, and every time you communicate with each other, it would be easily uh, it would be easier to understand within sa atua once we communicate in our own jargons, no, sa atuang mga terminologies. And uh, like, di ba, even mga big companies, we have different computer brands, but they have this standardization that they follow. So like for an instance, they have IBM, we have Apple, we have Microsoft, but they all follow IEE, no, mga international electronics standardization, uh, even like in such a way that every hardware device should be common to each other. Common in a sense that ang A sa ila would be the same sa A sa Apple, would be the same sa IBM. So that's what we call standardization. One example of that is ASCII, no? ASCII standardization. So American Standard Code for Information Interchange. We also have for Android, we also have this HOA, I guess, no, which is every hardware device that will implement or use an Android operating systems must have things in common. So when you as a company, let's say whether you are kung Oppo baka, Samsung baka, you most definitely you will follow the standardization set by Android operating systems. So in such a way that the integration will not compromise the idea of kanang number one, mag cost na pod, no, another cost, and other things will be affected in terms of integration. Ayan. So another thing is the data integrity. No, data integrity, reliability, and robustness. So when we talk about robustness, it's a healthy. You have a healthy transition of the data across different systems and different work processes and operations. So if you're going to to implement this data integration, or using during data integration. So when we talk about integrity, FYI lang, it's the highest form of honesty. no? So, diba, let's talk about honesty. We as a computer programmers can create software, and we can be someone na dili honest. What do you mean by that, sir? Pwede ta madili maging honest, in which create tag software and let's say gi-outsource lang mo, and then you can actually inject something in a program that after a few months it will be it will the error will occur, or something will happen after a few months. So we can be someone na dili honest in terms of pag-create sa software once i-deploy nato na siya sa company. And then, so of course, who will be the calling? Kinsa may tawagon sa company? Of course, kita, no? So, kung kita ang naghimo, kita ang tawagon, and then they're going to pay. So, that's where we can actually get money from, or kumbaga, it's another income for us. So, another thing is, of course, we can be someone who is or who has full of integrity. So, integrity means it's a someone who attributes the mas deeper, no, mas higher, or let's say mas deeper iyang honesty. It means that whether the persons or the companies doesn't know about the software that we're creating, most definitely the codes di sila kabaloon sa ang code gipang butang nato, but it's like, uh, in a simpler words, mura siya, don't do it even though nobody is watching. No? So, an example or scenario, mga ano lang, layman's term scenario, have you tried na maybe or naka-experience mo og nakakita og like mga like kwarta, no? Let's say 1,000 pesos sa sa dalan, and then what will you do with 1,000 pesos kung walay nakakita? What do you think you will do? Kanang
Pambayad sa
honest.
tuition, sir.
Mabayad sa tuition, pwede, no? If you can be honest, or I mean, that's what we called, kung walay nakakita, pwede na, you will pick up the money, and then be it yours, no? Pwede na maging imo. And then if you are someone who has this what we call integrity, it means it's the highest form of honesty. If you know someone nga natagakan atong 1,000, or nailhan mo, of course you will return it no matter what happens. So it's like doing the right thing even though nobody is watching. That's what we call data integrity. So in a similar manner, kung magdevelop tag software which involve na ang mga data transmissions, integration of systems, we can be either honest lang, or we can be someone who has integrity, which makes you becomes reliable, or which makes the systems reliable. So ika nga, you are what you write. So kung ikaw nga programmer is you are a person with integrity, you can be reliable in terms of creating a software, and which leads to a healthy uh, computer systems, or an information systems which can be reliable or healthy. Yan, no? So, and there are many things here that you will need to what they call this one, familiarize with, no, the terms. So please do familiarize this one, as this will come out in the exam. So which includes the overview, standardization. This I have already discussed this one. And then we have the system planning. As we all know, it's very important for us to plan our software well, not only in the software part, of course, unsay mga factors that may affect when we deploy the system. Example, if you're going to, we all know, no, not to, this is not to, ano ha, na ang diya sa boulevard or sa Agdaw na part, kay medyo, sa una, daghang choy-choy dira, no? Daghan og mga dili nato ka, shall we say, dili kaayo masaligan. That was before, no? So if mapansin niyo before, medyo chaotic kay na portion sa Davao and daghan dira og mga snatching incidents. Now, na-observe din nyo na if you are going to install ATM machines there, nobody really will go and try to withdraw or even do transactions which involves money. Diha sa na part, aside from it is of course no, it's not secured no, basin pag withdraw nimo kwarta, uh, somebody will go ahead to you and then pwede na tulisan ka or snatch. So yeah, no, that's one of the things that you will need to consider when you develop a an application or a system, no, or an information system for the company. So you will have to study the environment, the understand the whole production, the whole even the supply chain management, the business operations, the things that will affect the system in case of flooding, in case of fire. So you'll have to really understand that. Okay? So in ana siya. So system planning does not limits to software, but of course also with the environment. Busy kayo mong tulo na lang mo asa ng uban, di ba sinang chicks na mo, daha chicks dira. Okay? And
Nabayad mo
then
sir, nagbayad sir.
okay. And then let's have here the layered system. So isa sa mga gina gina implement karon or gina ano sa system, or once we develop a system, is this what we call the uh, this MVC, no, or model view controller. So this model view controller, these are frameworks that are used to develop a system which which uh, implements or which actually follow this kumbaga kanina mga attributes, no, flexible, speed, cost, mas dali ang pag-develop, mas paspas ang imuhang software. These things are what you can make out of a layered system, or this what we call model view controller. So isa sa example dira si Laravel, no, and all other frameworks, si even .NET, no, it's a framework which you can do the MVC or model view controller. So we have here these are the layer in each of the MVC, no, architecture. So we have the presentation layer. This is where the user takes inputs and the system will give outputs. So this is where the user or end user interacts with our system. Now, the application or logic layer, this is where the business logic comes in. This is what we are going to write. So, dili ta magsulat og code, and this is the brain of the systems. So, ang application logic layer will be the middleware of presentation layer and data layer. And of course, we all know what's the data. This is data are the raw facts, no? So usually these are stored into database, flat files, no? Maybe in a tab separate, pwede sa TSV, no? Pwede tab separated value, pwede comma separated value, JSON file, or any other storage, no, capability. But most likely database, no. So pero kung in terms of sa mga ano, we can store this into JSON files, especially pag mga web, no. So we use these layers to do that, no. Presentation layer, application layer, and data layer. So as I've told you, middleware is something that meets it's going to meet the user or the end user halfway between the data. So itawag siya middleware, it's because it's in between the presentation layer and data, no, it's the interaction between the user and the data. Yan. So now let's discuss about the types of software architecture in by the virtue of services. So what is service or services? So it's basically a special system component which can be called or invoked by other components which wants to, let's say, if that component or if that application component is going to uh, call for or invoke a certain task that is needed to be performed or get or fetch data from that from the service that you are providing, no, and then processing this data and then put it into or convert it into human readable information. So human readable information, which involves authentication service, so na ay validation of user, so password validation, account validation, and all. So now, there are types of architectures that we need to familiarize. So number one, we have here business architecture. So when we speak of business architecture, guys, this is an architecture that defines these most likely, no, the idea of strategy of businesses, no? Like governance, no, when we talk about governance, these are the rules and regulations within the organization or within the business or the company, and of course the key businesses within the corporate or within an enterprise. So this type of architecture focuses on the systems analysis and design of business processes. So in your third year, in your third year, you have encountered systems and analysis and design, which you follow software development life cycle, starting with the requirements gathering, data gathering, or requirements gathering, and then you come up with identification of problems, and then after that, you come up with the solution by providing different system alternatives, which the company can choose from. So the company will now have the autonomy to choose whatever you have provided to them. So most likely we can give them three alternatives. So pwede na standalone, pwede na online, or pwede na um, both standalone and online, or anything that you come in anything that pwede ninyo i-develop as a team, no, na ma-address na to tong problems that are identified within the company's processes. Ayan, so that is business architecture. So ito yung pinaka so far among all the architectures, ito yung mas naasa level na pinaka lowest level, no? So dili kay siya na naka-complex, and ma-answer lang nato siya or maka-provide lang ta with simple mga components of technology. And then second one is application architecture. So this serves as the blueprint for uh, every application which is part of a system, and then including the interaction and relationships of the business processes and operations within the organization. So that is what we call application architecture. And with information architecture naman, this architecture is used to usually maggamit natin rin og mga server, no, database server, or whether you're using Oracle, MySQL, or MS SQL Server, or mga real-time database server or data server. No, so we have here a data assets or data sets, which is most likely in the form of ayun, as I've said, no, pwede siya sa as a date any database server which I have mentioned earlier, mga my MS SQL, MySQL, Firebase, which is a real-time database server. So things like that, no? And then we have ITA, no, or Information Technology Architecture. So this one naman is above all, it's you're not only going to focus on the software, but rather it includes hardware components. So this time, mag-ano ka whether how many storage you're going to buy or purchase for the application, what are the hardware devices that you will be needing for the software to interact with, no, kailangan, let's say, sa payroll, pwede lang man kailangan instead of kailangan natong biometrics, like bio ang kailangan, you can actually purchase something like image recognition or any other things na pwede na to i-ano sa payroll. Okay, sa enrollment, there are actually a lot of technological advancement that we can buy, but if most likely kung online lang ta, so mas we don't have to purchase most likely mga hardware na or mas walay kaayoy computer na i-deploy within the enrollment, because the students can just go online and then using their own devices, and then probably pwede na sila mag-enroll dito. So ang ano lang, data security lang jud inyo ang anon. But overall, this is when we talk about ITE or information technology architecture, this combines hardware and software components now. So ayan. So that is actually uh, uh, the SCP week 1, and we have here kadtong including the introduction to programming languages. So week 2 is about .NET, which a program that we have chosen. So ito yung mga terminologies. Ayan, right here. Ayan. So just I have already discussed this one to you during our laboratory activity. Ayan, so forms, the control, property window, methods, although modules wala pa nato na discuss, so that's what we are going to discuss in the coming weeks or days, no? And then these are the 3 steps in developing a user interface in .NET. So we have draw the UI, assign properties to control, and write codes to controls or attach code to controls. So please do read all these definitions. So basahan ninyo na siya para, and then also with this one, familiarize the environment. Although this one is still 2010, mas bago na karon na natay to sa 2012, but most likely parehala na sila og mga icons. Ayan. All right, so that is week 2, and then for week 3 naman, so gi-recap na lang nato niya, and then for week 3 naman, it's all about um, different programming languages. So ayan, ito, no? So ayan, overview of programming languages. So structured, OOP, computer program. So please do read that one. So this time I'm going to discuss this one in a programming, no? So mag-demonstrate ko. Okay. So let's now go to our to here, and let's discuss about the object-oriented programming and how we actually implement it in VB.NET. So to start with, of course, we have this idea already on what are the different windows, no, in VB.NET. Yan. So please do study this one, guys. I have uploaded it here in our Edmodo, no, para in preparation of your examination. Yan. So, para mas masabtan ninyo ang idea on how we implement OOP here. So, to start with, this is where you are going to isang full screen. So, this is where you are going to create a class. So, later on, we're going to discuss module and then class. But first, let's discuss the idea of a class. Now, we know that a class is a building block or a template of an object. So whenever we create a class can instantiate an object. Okay. So, and it's a basis for creating encapsulation or implementing principle number 1 of OOP, which is encapsulation. So let's say we have here sama to encapsulate. Let's say we have gas tank na lang. Sorry. Okay, gas tank. Example, we're going to create a gas tank, no? So, and it's a class, no? Okay? So basically when we talk about class, in it's the same idea in C++, in Java, or in PHP, or even in C Sharp. So this is the class, and then if we are going to implement encapsulation here, the all the data members inside of this encapsulated class should be in private property. So private in a sense that dili ni mo siya basta ma-access ang object once it's you are going to access this outside of your class. So number one, let's have the property of a class. Okay. So these are what we call data fields or members of an object. So an object has two properties. Number one, the data fields. So two properties. So number one, the data fields or the members of data objects or data members. Secondly, the operations. Yan. So operations most likely mahimo ni siyang functions in program. And data fields are your attributes. So as we all know, object can be defined using its attribute and using its operation. So example, when we talk about face mask, no, you're wearing a face mask today. I mean sa kanang nakita ako sa inyo ano, na you're wearing a face mask, that is an object, right? So nana siya property. So unsa may mga property ana, iyang color, no, color property, iyang probably iyang type, no, ang clothing, or iyang type if it's fish unsa ba na, fish na type, and then ang type sa iyang clothing, iyang probably ang width, ang length, or ang iyang string kung unsay style siyang string. Okay? So naatay kay type niya pwede na K94 or katong usual or traditional na face mask. Okay? So that is the property. Another and then what is its use for? Mo na siyang operation or function. Okay? Another example, flash drive, no? Flash drive is an object. We are actually surrounded with objects now in the world. So it's important for us to understand the object. Dili siya structural programming or procedural programming na the data and its associated members, attributes and operations are all coming together in one class or one program. But with the encapsulation, it's the idea of it's putting all the data into its associated members or operations into one single unit called a class. Okay, so what are the properties of a gas tank? Unsa kaya ang mga properties sa gas tank? Sa may properties sa gas tank? Yahang okay, capacity, no? Pwede yung capacity sa paman. Yahang siguro level. So probably sa capacity mag-base ang size, no? Yang length or width. If you want to, let's say kuha na lang ni tank sa car, no? So kung pila yang capacity, then pila ang level, makita na to sa yang dashboard. Inana na lang, okay. And yeah, we can define an object based on its attributes. Okay. So now, wait, anong ano man eh. So
Sir,
dim, yes.
sir.
Oo.
Sa laboratory sir ba? Ugma, unsa may oras sa unsa kabiri siya na sir?
Kani,
Kay gamay na namon time sir, titit naman diri sir. Titit.
ano daw?
Titit naman time sa wifi diri, bisan dili na may tungtanaw niya ba.
Kato mga unsa na? Mga atong i-discuss nato last time, programming.
Yes sir. Salamat sir.
And kani, no? Including this one. Sige. So Sorry. Hapit na inyong time. Okay, so by the way, another thing if you're going to talk about class is we have this what we call constructor. So constructor is used to initialize an object. So ginagamit na to ang constructor for creating an objects. In Java, in C++, and in C Sharp, constructor is the same name with our tank, no? I mean the same name with our class rather. So kung unsay pangalan sa imong class, mao po'y pangalan sa imong constructor. I mean sa imong method, which is mao na ang constructor. Pero sa .NET, the name of the constructor is it is the new, no? So public sub new. Ayan. So anything na naay new is in .NET is called a constructor. So by the way, what is constructor? Once you instantiate an object, so let's say ato na siya ibutang dire. This is a constructor. Spelling constructor. Ayan. So let's say if I'm going to this class, I'm going to call this one from here. Okay, let's say I'm going to create an object. Let's say gas as tank gas tank. So gas is equal to new gas tank. So whenever I run the program, the constructor is automatically called. Regardless if you call it or not, automatic na siya tawagon basta makakita siya og new keyword diha sa imong program. So did you see that I call the new keyword there? No. Wala. Okay? Whenever I create a new object for my gas tank, for my class being encapsulated, automatic iyahan na siyang tawagon or i-call. So meaning to say, regardless kung na ako'y message box diri or wala, anything that I put right here, let's say I say that my capacity is, let's say 50 liters, and my level is, let's say I will define it as 0. That means when I call this one, okay, when I call this one, the value of the level and the capacity is what? Is 50 and 0 respectively. Okay? So, pwede na ito na ipagawas by calling public, let's say, int capacity or get capacity na lang. Get capacity. Sorry, public public sub get capacity as integer. Ayan. As integer. Right. No, it should be function. Sorry, because we are going to invoke value returning method. So by the way, in visual.net, when we talk about sub, it does not return any value. When we talk about function, it returns a value. So again, sub does not return any value. So it's like void in other languages. So when we talk about function, it returns a value. So since our capacity will return a value, and it is expected to return an integer value, which means that we return the capacity. So this time get capacity. Yeah. So return. Sorry, capacity. Ayan. So now when I call this one right here and I put it in my message box that show I have here gas dot get capacity. So when I run this program, it will give me the capacity. So pwede na ako na siya dungagan og let's say uh, concatenate na to liters, no, 50 liters or something. Yan. So that's it. That's we can also get the level. So we'll just have to copy paste this one, and then let's say get level, or parang its current level of the our tank. So let's have here level. Ayan. Okay, so 8. Okay, so now why do we need to encapsulate? So another access specifier in .NET that are kanang ginagamit kayo is public, no? Of course, we know that in Java it's the same, public, private, protected, even friends, no? Siya na i-discuss na to na pohon, but karon public, private lang sa ta. So public is anything that can be accessed even outside of this class. Pag may tag private, it's a property of a class or encapsulated class which cannot be accessed outside of this class. So meaning to say, if naka-declare ko og private ani, I cannot access it here, no? So balik ko diri sa form 1, if I'm going to call that gas dot, sorry, gas dot, yan. So I cannot access capacity and level. But whenever imbutang na ko ni siya as public, okay, when I go back here, let's say form 1, I have here gas dot, yan, level. So I can access the capacity and the level. Okay? So of course we can always do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this one, no? Walay problema kung i-public ninyo dito. However, that is not encapsulation. Klaro? So kung naka-public ni siya dire, imuhang attributes, ang idea na is this is not encapsulation. So, unsa day ang idea sa encapsulation? The idea of encapsulation is it will make your class or object become secured, no? Example, kung nganong ang ato ang mga watch or relo, nganong naitabon atong mga relo, nganong nai-cover. Why do you think is that? Aside sa pangit tan-awon, unsa kaya ang reason nganong naitabon or naka-encapsulate siya in that naay glass and naay cover sa likod? Why do you think is that? O, di ba? Very good answers. Okay? It's because of
Sir,
course, no? Kung oo, Raymond, oo. Kung accessible ang mga unsay parts, no? Kung what's inside or what parts inside of a watch sa atong relo? Unsay mga parts dito inside of that? Unsa kay mga parts na dito inside of anang relo? Yes, Alforque.
ito,
Battery. Battery, sir.
Pwede, no? Battery. Alforque, na siya si as Raymond, na siya ano? O mga kanang gear, no? Gear, tama?
yes, sir, mechanical gear, sir.
O mechanical gear, battery. So, although naka-attach na sa to ang watch, pero if wala i-cover, it will make the watch na unsecured. So, unsecured from easily touching it. By easily touching it, pwede na dali maguba, no? Okay, pwede dali maguba ang gear because you can just touch it. You can it can be it's not beyond our control. I mean beyond our satong hands, no? Pwede na nato matandog-tandog anytime we want. Okay? Even our brains, no? It's our brain is encapsulated by our using our heads or using our skull na naay hair kasi to protect from damage, no? Ma-protect sa damage sa mga siyempre sa mga insects, sa sun and other pwede na maka-apekto sa atong brain. O sa atong mga sakyanan, okay? The only way for us to what's behind that dashboard is, of course, kung i-open nimong dashboard sa atong sakyanan, that is where you can see a lot of car parts, no? Makita nimo mga parts sa imong car kung i-open nimo ang imuhang dashboard. So, syempre, with that, if we are going to encapsulate it in using that dashboard kanang ayang plastic ano sa dashboard, so it makes the parts of the car become secured. Okay? Siguro another para mas masabtan, wire. Kung ang wire wala na naka electrical wire, ha, example lang, wala naka-encapsulate using unsay nang giputos sa wire, unsay tawag na to ana, rubber na siya, di pa na rubber, no? Unsay term ana, ang sa wire gani, electrical wire,
Fiber optic, sir.
fiber optic. Oo, mga fiber optic. O di ba napo na positive negative ang wire, tama? Na siya pula o na itom usually. Tapos kung magdikit na sila, pwede na musunog ang wire. And then, of course, kung walay ano ang wire, walay putos, possibly na ang human is ang kita, no? Threat na sa tuwa because pwede ta ma-electrocate, electrocate, no? Or pwede ta makuryente. Yan. So, kaya kailangan siya putuson. Pero, para mas masabtan ninyo, example, mas masabtan nyo in programming, it's important for us to encapsulate or make this one as private. So, example lang ha, if I'm going to make this, let's say capacity, level, etc. In here, ibutang na ako siya dire, kay ma-access man ako, pwede na ako ibutang na gas dot capacity is equal to negative 500. So with this, na-set na ko ang gas by 500. So if ako siyang i-run, negative 500 liters. And it's not good, no? If and how would you possibly, it's like kumbaga, if this is like a running program, pwede na na-assign ang capacity by negative 500. So it's like something has intruded or naging unsecured imuhang data karon. So imagine if this is like student balance. Example, student balance ni siya. So kung student balance, pwede na ko siya i-set himuong negative 500. What will happen? So, kumbaga, utangan pang eskwelahan sa imuha. Let's say, mayon kong student, kung alam butang stud, let's say, nagbutang kong S that balance is equal to 15,000 or butang na kong negative 15,000. So, utangan pang school sa kuha. Okay? So, how do we resolve this? So, isa is to create an encapsulated class, which is by creating private property for that class of yours rather. This will generate or create an error. So, mag-ingon siya, mali maling spelling sa akong review. Review RI. Anyway, gas tank that capacity is not accessible or is not accessible in this context because it is private. So with that, you prevent the idea of one can access the property, no? Ma-prevent mo ang idea sa pag-access sa property sa isa ka property sa object. So now, what is this? What it will make us or what it will tell us? This will tell us that whenever there is an intrusion or there is a hacker, at least dili niya basta ma-access ang property na capacity. So you will maybe asking me, sir, di ba pwede naman gyapon ako na siya like for an instance, how do I how do I change or assign capacity for that? So of course, you will create another value for set capacity, no? Or sige, like this one. So let's have here capacity as integer. Ayan. So, ibutang lang nato na this one is dako lang siya na C. Sorry. So, this should be sub. Ayan. So, okay, ato lang ning dakoon siya. And then let's remove this one. So this should be C. Dako na C, and this is kamay na C. Sorry. Ayan. No. Underscore na lang nato ni. Para dili siya ma-confuse. Underscore C. Ayan. So we have here a set capacity, which means na pwede na to i-assign. So since dili man ni pwede, another or somebody can just call this that na mayon siya set capacity. O di dire ko magbutang or mag-assign og negative 5,000. Okay? Or dili ko mag-set og negative 5,000. So pwede ra man dai gihapon, sir, di ba? So if i-run nato ni, this will give me negative 5,000. So say, sir, pwede naman lagi gihapon. How is that? Of course, pwede, but as a programmer, you can always, okay, you can always do something here. So this is what we call now business logic. So mo ni mo ang business logic. Okay? So it's part of the process sa business that you should include logical analysis, wherein pwede ka magbutag mga conditions like if capacity or underscore capacity is, let's say, less than 0, then you can display something that the let's say show capacity is invalid. Okay, otherwise if we are not I mean if we want to accept it, let's just put it here. Capacity is equal to underscore capacity. So with this one, if we're going to run this one, no, gas.set capacity kanina allowed sa iya na maka-accept ng negative 5,000. So na-resolve nato to siya. But this time, naatay public na set capacity, but we can still store negative 5,000. However, nagbutang ta og business logic dito, and it displays na the capacity is now is invalid. So there's stopping of the stopping or stoppage of the proceeding of the process. So na-prevent niya ang possible na cause sa error sa imong program, which is this one, no? So is invalid. So di na to niya i-allow, which is kung napansin niyo ang liters na to is still 50 liters. Wala niya na change, na wala niya na change to negative 5,000. So that's the idea of encapsulation. Okay? So yeah, that's it. Question so far? Is there any question, guys? Before we proceed, nabay questions?
Sir,
Oh,
di ako makita mo share screen, sir.
ha? Ganina na ako, Dre. Wala ko yung nakita na akong screen.
Dili, siyog exit, sir, kay... siyog exit, di ako makita ang share screen ba?
Oh, ako, sa imuha lang. Pero how about the rest? Makita?
Pero makita na
Makita,
kayo mong
sir.
kan, sir, naong, sir.
Ah, no. Oy, na,
Share screen
importante,
lang di makita, sir.
importante magunang naong god. Joke lang, wait lang ha. Wait lang. Ano na ko, re-share na lang ako para check na to. Kana, kita na nimo.
At nag-load, datang, sir. Oh, kita na, sir. Right,
Mm.
sir.
Fights. Ngano kaya to? Ang uban makita man daw. So, naay question, guys. Dali lang, di ba? Mura ra gyapon og other programming. So if you get the concept, pwede niyo ni ma-apply sa even different na languages. Even JavaScript, no? Even C Sharp, PHP. So ma-apply ninyo ni sila ng mga concepts. So any questions so far before we proceed? Nabay question?
Wala, sir.
Wala.
Go.
Ah,
Lalata,
sige.
sir.
Wala yata. Okay, sige. So let's have here magpatubil na ta, no? So public, mabutan na to og kuan simulation na magtubil ta. Unsa man na refill na no or fill. Unsay mas term? Mas gwapo na term. Refill na lang. Refill. Ako na lang mo tubag. So they have, let's say, liter as integer. Ayan. By the way, class, duha ni siya kani gani dire pwede ni by val liter as integer. By val kaning by val, it means it's a you pass the liter by value. So napo ni siya isa by ref, no? You pass the value by reference, and by value and by reference. So but if wala na siya, automatic it's by value. Ayan, draw by ref specifies that an argument is passed in such a way that the call procedure can change the underlying value of the argument in the calling code, while by val is it's passed such a way that the call procedure property cannot change the underlying value of the argument in the calling code. Kasi by value nga. By reference is you have two attributed values inside of your memory, and the change of the object will not affect the change of what's inside of your memory. So in ana ihang ano. Okay? So if I'm going to use by val, without by val, it's automatically by val. If I use by reference, of course, the liter is passed by reference. No, by ref stands for reference. So kung mag-refill ta og liter sa ato ang gas tank, unsay mahitabo? It should be
Sudlon.
sudlon. Unsay may masudlan nato? Atong unsay masudlan?
Yes, tank.
Ang level nato, no? Mas dungagan. Okay? So level plus equals liter. Ayan. Sige, dili na to ato ta dit so madungagan na level plus equals liter. So anita diri sa ato ang ano, so since naka message box man pangtanggalon nato ning message box. Ayan, and then ibutang maghimo ta diri og let's say text box na lang. Okay, allow me to change this one muna. So we have ayan. So tama na siguro na. So this is, let's say, txt level txt liter capacity na lang. Capacity. Then atuan ni siyang i-code na lang nato dito sa PCAS. So let's have here what's this is capacity, I guess. Capacity, and then let's have here ato siyang padakon gamay 14, and then let's check muna. This is capacity level pala ito. So this is level. Okay. So butang na nato ni sa group box. ay kuan daw ni dashboard. Okay, so let's program this one and let's have here txt capacity that as enabled to false para di ma-edit or pwede man noon ta mag label para dili ma-enteran but since na text box naman ato na lang iset. And then let's say balik anita dire. Tang nato dire enter parang liter. So the liter, no? Kung pila ka liter iyang ibutang txt liter. Ayan. Okay, so let's have it here. Tato dire. So okay, ato sa ning ikuan. All right, so we have the dim liter equals cin. Ato na ibutang na integer ang liter sa txt liter dot text. And then we have txt level dot text equals gas dot get level. Yan. And then txt capacity dot text is equal to gas dot get capacity. Ayan. So, tawagon na to ang gas dot refill based on the liter. Ayan. Okay. So, let's run the program now. Okay. So, let's say we have 300. Ayan. Ay, dapat na naday tayo button rin na add nyo. So, sige na lang. Mag-text change manoon ko. Oh, wait lang. I-update na lang ako. So, delete na natin ibutang sa text change. Dire na lang. And then, maghimo ko isa button. Button. Let's say, this is add, refill. Okay, so yeah, so I guess that's it. Let's go back from here. So let's say mag-add ta, yan. So capacity dapat nato automatic na no? Butang nato na dili si capacity. Yan. Dim, butang nato si gas dire. Sorry for that. By the way, if magbutang mo, pwede nimo nyo butang dire dim gas as new gas tank. Pwede na dili ka mag-inani instantiate. Pero it would be better if wala kay new dire kay para you can create an object anytime you want, no? So naghimo ko naghimo ko object sa form 1, naghimo po kog object sa refill 1. Okay? So anyway, now let's run the program now. So you have 50 as our capacity. And if I'm going to say 500, yan. So it may sound na wala may pulos ang ID ang program, sir. Yes, probably dili nyo ma-appreciate kay like sir, pwede naman kung maka-input og data from here then store na ko ibutang na ko diri i-add. Yeah, but the idea there is the ability to create isolated class no sa imuhang main class where your business logic is actually here. So ang imuhang logical na adiri rather than na adiri sa nasa diri, no? So you don't have any like mga if else condition here. So most likely imong logic na asa diri. Okay, nasa imuhang class. Okay, another one is let's say pwede na to ni siya maghimo tag parameterized constructor. And this is the idea of OOP or OOP in programming is a powerful concept kasi this is if you are going to write everything inside of your form by not creating a class or implementing OOP, although how ka mo program but you don't have that idea to create or to encapsulate a class, and it's a no in system integration or application programming, so or app dev. Dili na siya, no matter how good you are in coding, no, how ka kang program but dili ka kabalo mag OOP or implement og OOP in every programming language, ha, it's still not okay. Again, kasi one of the most important concepts in programming is object-oriented principles. Okay, so let's have here integer, ayan. And then so this time, makaset tag capacity based on the user na gi-enter na capacity, no? So, we have two constructor here. Asa to kong constructor? Ayan. Ang isa is parameterized, baliktad di ay. So, this is parameterized, this is default constructor. So, please familiarize the terms, ha? So, this is parameterized constructors. So, this will set, so kung napansin nyo, na siya parameter, and this will set the capacity, whatever the user is going to assign for it. While this one, stagnant na 50 liters ang capacity sa tuang water tank. So, example, if I'm going to, let's say, assign my gas tank to, in here, no, i-assign ako na 5,000 iyahang capacity, this would mean na ang capacity sa ako ang water tank will also be 5,000. Okay? So 5,000 po siya, gi-assign man nimo siya dire. So yeah, that's it, no? Kung ibutang nimo negative 500, of course, this will magbutang po siya negative 500. So again, unsa to ibuhaton nato ana? Butang ta diri og business logic, no? So if yan, katong gi-discuss nato about application layer, data layer, and business logic layer. So if that, baliktad, wait, not here. It should be from here. So if, let's say, capacity is less than 0, sorry, then, yan, so pwede tagbutang diri og then else, again. So let's go back here and run the program. Say we input, ayan, dito pa lang, nagyaw-yaw na siya, no? So negative 500, ay, later malini, no? Yan, dito pa lang, nag-set ta og negative 5,000, yeah, it's invalid. Or otherwise, pwede pod na instead of inana, tawagon na lang to nimong kani na part, no? Which is, you can actually set this one to a new sorry. New Why I can't call the new? Wait. Mm-hmm. Or if not, diretso na ta capacity is equal to unsa to initial capacity. I can suppose to call this sub new here. Why I can't call the new? Okay. New. Wait. Pwede dapat ako ma-call ni siya. 2012 man no. I guess sa uban na sige, check na ko kung sa reason behind why I cannot call the new constructor here. But most definitely makatawag ta ani sa iya. It seems like siguro sa gigamit nato na version. Sige lang. Ako lang ng ano. Anyway, so with that, at least if the waton in capacity na giset nimo for your user, no, if you ask the user to enter a value or what value ba negative, so dili niya dawaton, always ibutang niya to negative. I mean to ibutang niya diha into ang capacity by default, kaya siya default no, kasi by default ang display would be 50 instead of the value that you set for your tab here, no, so which is right here na negative 500. Ayan. Yeah, so I guess that's it, no? Another one is kung mag-refill ta, pwede ta makabutang drink if is let's say no, if another logic na pod, if liter is siyempre less than 0, dili po nato na dawaton. Okay, so you can have this one right here. And then this is, let's say, liter. And then let's have here else. Ayan. And okay, so another one is when you remove, okay, mag-remove ta. So let's say, siyempre no, ang travel na to, ang removal na to, dili siya mag-remove og liter. But rather, nag-travel ka. Okay, ibutan na lang nato na nag-travel ta, tapos in distance. Okay, so distance. Okay, tapos natay calculation. So wala ang takabaloon sa calculation ato. So pila may matanggal sa ato ang gas every kilometer na i-travel. What do you think? Kinsa may mga hilig nag-travel? So for every 1 kilometer is equivalent to pila ka liter? Buta nato sir 100 or 500 ml. Dako ra no? Or equivalent of 0.55 liter. Tama ba? Kana na lang para dali ang calculation. So that means if akong travel is 2 kilometer, that means 1 liter ang makuha sa ako ang gas, no? Sa akong gitubil. Makuha ko ninyo, guys. Hello? Na-gets ninyo? Oh, sige. Alright. So, if na-gets, so unsaon ang formula nato ani? Sa formula nato sa level, dapat maminusan siya by so i-convert let's say kilometer man no. So tapos in liter ang iyahang ang liter. So that means i-calculate sa nato siya, let's say calc na lang. equals to 0. So calculate sa nato siya by pila ang calculation nato, distance times pila man calc. So let's say 2 times 0.5 is 1. So inana, no, times 0.5. So distance times 0.5. Kasi kung 500 ml, i-divide pa nato siya by 1,000. Pwede na ang ano na to is distance times 500 ml divided by 1,000, which is actually pwede na 0.5 kani. I just hope nakuha, no? Mathematically inana siya ang conversion. So now, di na to ibutang ang calc. Before na to i-subtract siya. So, yeah, I guess nakuha ninyo na. So, for every 1 kilometer, 500 ml, which is equivalent to 0.5. And to get it, inani siya. Pero since nakuha naman na to, ang conversion na to is dali man kay 0.5 unless kung depende sa ihang kabugaton pa sa load sa imuhang car, no, iyang travel plus the weight plus the distance. Kung i-apply pa nato nag-calculate, medyo maglisod na ta. Kanilang sa simple logic lang. So kuhaon lang nato siya ang distance times iyahang makuha per ml or per liter, and then maminusan ang level nato. So yan. So wala pa tay butang diri na ano, pwede ta maghimog button. Okay? Pwede po ta himo na to ning button as pag after refill lahi na lang, sige, lahi na lang to ang button para di na to sige himog condition. So this is, let's say, travel. Okay, so kung travel, so assuming lang ha, although syempre wala di man ni moving object, wala nato na simulate ang car simulation, no, medyo lisod man implement ang animation dire. So kuan lang sa ta, input based lang sa ta na object. So pohon, if in case na naamoy mga simulation, of course kani inyong coding dire, it's the same, only that nalay object na moving, no, moving object sa inyong program. Pero of course, no, dili lang sa nato ni ano kay it's hard for me to do that. So and actually somebody has the ability and I don't have that skills na mag-animation. Anyway, if you're into animation, pwede niyo na dungagan flash, no. So here kay mudawat manig flash ato ang visual.net. So buta nato BT and travel. So kanila lang input lang ta. So when I click kung akong input is let's say ani niya travel, makuan og ang level sa ako ang tank. Okay, so diri na ako ibutang ang una ko ni, and then so gas that refill that travel mo siguro to. Ayan. Then txt level is equal to gas that get level. Tama na siya. Sige. So dungag sa ta, let's say 500. So butang na to og 50 liter. Yan. So 50 ato ang level sa 50 liters. And then magbutang ta og travel daw ta og 2 kilometers. So dapat 49. Ayan. So kung 5 kilometers, so 47. Oh, ayan, inala siya ka simple. So 47 minus 5 is 42, kaya na minusan siya 5 liters. Ayan. So inana lang, no? But more than that, ang akong gusto niyo ma-appreciate there is this kaning water, kaning gi-encapsulate nato na tank. Okay? So, pwede magbutag mga condition or more conditions in here, which is actually hidden inside of your, so kung napansin niyo ang codes niyo sa inyong form is only like this. No, assuming kani siya gihimo na nimo ning API, no, naka API ni i-import na lang nimo siya. And all you just need to do is imo na lang siyang tawag-tawagon diri. So mag-import na lang ka. Import, which is mao na itong buhaton in the future. So import gas tank, or kung asa nimo siya ibutang na package. Let's say kung ibutang nato siya na package sa system that then gas tank, but again wala pa man nato siya gibutang sa isa ka package, so we cannot do that for now. Okay, so yeah, I guess dungagan na to gamay para let's say sa dashboard, atong dashboard makompleto. So butangan na to og public, let's say is empty sorry, function. Okay, so return. How do we know na empty ato ang tank? If si paano pahibalaan kung empty, guys?
Zero ang level, sir.
Oo,
Ay,
very
less than
good.
zero.
Less than or equal to 0, no? Pwede, no? Less than or equal to 0. Pwede less than or equal to 0. Pero, yeah, pwede na to yan into level is equal to 0. Okay? And then, let's create another. Thank you. Thank you. So, mag-snack sa ta. Ako na lang ni humanon para mahumanta. Dili siya dawaton. So, ay, sorry. Pwede na na. Okay. Doble daw. Is full. So, level, if mag-reach na siya to capacity, that means kung equal na ang capacity og level, that means full tank na. No? Puno na imong tank. So, idungag nato na siya diri. Ibutang na lang nato diri. So, mo man imong dashboard. So, empty. Unsa ganang sa, di ba, ano man guna no sa kanang sakyanan kay naay mo sa lingin mo guna tapos yahang level sa tank kung puno or dili. Di mo ko kabaluan na ba? Ngita tag ano dali. Image. Madugay na tayo na lang. So, ano na nato, empty, true or false na lang para dali. Ano na lang. So, C, Control V, and then this is full. Okay. Wait. So, this is LBL empty. And then, i-change na to ni siya sa border style to fixed single. Pwede po 3D. Ayan. And then, let's say, walay sulod. Copy paste butang isa, butang nato siya OMG. Ayan. Butang nato dire, no? LBL full. So, yeah, tawagon nato dire sa tuang tank. So, LBL empty.text equals gas dot get is empty. Ang isa LBL full gas that is full. Yan. So, yan. Sibutan na to 400 refill and then 100. So, oy, wala change. Ay, okay, wala to gi-change. Wala to gitawag balik diri. So, dapat every time mag-travel ka or ato na jud dining dapat i-function na lang nato ni. Pwede nato ni siya i-function anyway. Halos the same lang man siya. Ang codes para mas mugamay atong program or atong source codes. Ayan. So, dapat mag-update siya. So, 400 refill. Tapos, let's say 100 refill. Oh, what happened? Ay, 400. Na-change. Wala. Na-change ang, sorry. Dapat get level refill. Wala niya gidungag. Wait ha. Refill. So, dapat 100 refill. Sa 500 na dapat. Asa naman to? Kung to ang refill 3. Okay. Refill. So, what happened here? Kasi nag-instantiate na pud ta dire, no? So, balik siya sa sugod. Mahimo siyang 0 ug balik class dara. So, kailangan nato magkita dire sa form law. Okay. Ayan. Yan. Okay? So, na true. The reason behind is that kanina na-instantiate nato twice ang gas tank. So, it means pag ma-instantiate nato siya somewhere, anywhere, magbalik siya sa sugod kay based ato ang definition, mubalik siya sa 0 ang level. So, mauton every time mag-input ko 400 tapos 100 na ano na siya. So, ang problem lang with this one, syempre, no? 400, let's say, magbutang kag 150, puno na yun na siya, pero ni sobra sa imong capacity, which is, wala pa na nagbutang conditions for that. Okay? So, dali naman lang na, no? Where we can actually put conditions here na if is full, or if, sorry, not here, but if and if is full, ayan. So, sorry, and yeah, if true, or ni siya dapat kasi either if it's puno or if it's less than 0. So ayan, you can recycle your methods, no, or your functions. You call is full, so i-check niya kung ang imuhang level is equal na to capacity. Ayan, so that is how encapsulation is implemented in VB.NET. So, another example or another principle of OOP is inheritance. So, let's have here, let's say, sa may mga, sige, water tank. Yan, itong sa ato ang dati sa OOP. Try na to, water tank. Uy, module man eh. Sorry, dapat class. I-delete sa ako ni. Actually, if you know the idea of encapsulation, most likely mas dali na po nimo masabtan ang inheritance. So, inheritance is the ability of a class to inherit properties or common properties within the class. So, in .NET, we use inherits keyword to inherit property of our water tank, our of an existing class. So this means na pwede nimo magamit ang mga properties na naa kay gas tank. So example, this is an SA relationship. So whenever maghimo ko or let's say ibutang na ako ni sa dim, let's say gas as water tank. So even water tank na ko, wait, tawagon sa day nako dito. Water tank. So oh, what happened? Gas tank, water tank. Okay. Ay, ayan. So, yan, no? As you can see, things that you can do with what they call this one, with inheritance, even though wala ko nagbutang og anything for my water tank, I can still call and everything still works fine in my in here, no? So meaning gas, although nasa gas tank akong codes, since nag-inherit ko from water tank to gas tank, this makes child and this makes a parent. So therefore, whatever is from the gas tank, I can still use it, no? So this is the a testament that even though the gas is declared or instantiated as water tank, I still can use the operations inside of a gas tank. Ayan, no? So ibalik sa nato ni dire, and this is like gas, and then let's say 500. Sorry, gas tank. But you have seen that earlier, pwede ra gamiton nato ang unsay capability ni water tank og is the same with the gas tank. So kaya lang syempre, since nag-inherit ka, it means to say na naa kay additional value na ibutang sa imuhang gas tank, probably, no? But it seems like man siguro difference ang gas tank ug water tank, only that baliktad siguro, dapat water tank i-inherit nato si gas tank, then sa ang idea is na ang sa gas tank lang kay naay type kung fuel o sa pa na gas ba or unleaded or diesel ba kung unleaded, something like that. So baliktad dapat water tank then to gas tank. By the way, ang gusto na ko ipakita sa inyo diri is if unlike any other programming language, dili nimo siya ma-inherit ang property, although nag-inherit ka but pwede nimo gamit but you cannot override. Okay? So this is inheritance sa ano kasi sa visual.net. The moment you inherit this class, it means to say that everything na naa diri is magamit ni water tank. So di ba ganina gi-change nako ang object into wala ako i-change ang object but gi-change nako to water tank ang class. So walay error na nahitabo. So ang unsay idea sa inheritance theory is that nalantay ginatawag na overrideable o overrides. Okay? So example lang, in my gas tank gihimo nako ning let's say kaning refill or sige mo na ko ni siyang overrideable. Ayan. So pag overrideable na siya, overrideable keyword means that the object or the operation of gas tank can be overridden in my water tank or the class that it's inheriting to it. So example, tawagon ako diri si refill ba to? Ayan, si refill nara. So dili na ko makita si travel dira. Ay di na ko siya basta-basta magamit si travel dala unless wala ko siya gibutang as overridable, no? Or overridable. So public overrides refill. So si di nimo basta-basta ma-override si kinsa si travel, only si say tawag na si refill but not travel. So by the way, my base is a keyword that is used to call the the operations of your class that are declared as public. So ayan, example, tawagon to na akong constructor na nakay gas tank. Okay? So ibutang na balik na ako ni into ay di na ako ni i-erase la lang nako ni. Not erase but i-comment para pag transition dili ko mag-usab-usab. And then gas is equal to yan. So most definitely the same. So there's nothing walay nag-change ko og class but since si water tank o si gas tank are of the same family, instead water tank is the child of gas tank or superclass or base superclass of gas tank. I mean, yeah, gas tank is superclass of water tank, which makes water tank as a derived class and gas tank as a base class. So if you try to check, ma-override na ko siya dire and then pwede ko mag-change, pwede na ko buhat ibutang dire ang refill into like if I want it na mag-return siya og value, no? So instead na ani ako ibutang return tapos liter of H2O, something like this one, a string. So meaning pwede na ako mausab ako ang value nga gi-override. Wait. Sorry kasi function man di man din siya nakasub man din no. So wait ha, isub na ako balik. Sorry for that. It should be sub. So in this case, this is pwede na ako ma-change ang business logic ani if let's say whatever I will do sa liter, I don't know whatever you do for this refill, but it seems it means that it's the logic na imong buhaton dire, either imo siyang i-zero, the logic na imong buhaton diri sa refill sa water tank will be independent sa buhaton nimo sa gas tank. Meaning walay labot si water tank kung saan nimo unsay imong buhaton diri sa refill. Whether imo ba siyang i-zero then ipasa nimo siya, so it doesn't care. But of course, ang iyang is namoy connection or relationship. So if you try to override the travel, so dili na siya allowed kasi dili siya overridable, no? So by the way, this is what we call polymorphism now. Okay, polymorphism. So we talk about polymorphism. Poly means many, forms means morphe rather. Morphe means forms. Ability of a class to have many forms. So refill in the water tank and refill in the gas tank are this has the same name, but uh, they have the same behavior or the same name, no? So I mean the same, ayan, i-explain ako diri na part. So namo ko tawag na overloading, method overloading, method overriding. So overloading, same name, same behavior. Okay? Same name but different maninin nyo na behaviors. So overriding, ay baliktad. Sorry. This is over overriding. So if you have the same name with same behavior, so si refill kung unsay behavior ni gas tank dito, i-inherit nimo kani siya mao ni ang overriding, no? Overriding na part. Unsa iyahang kung mag-refill siya og mag-refill siya og whether it's fuel, gas, unleaded or water, it doesn't change the fact na mag-refill siya basta mag-refill siya because same name, same behavior, mag-refill. But with overloading, pwede na same name siya pero different behaviors. Example, diri ko sa gas tank. You can only, by the way, ang overriding can only happen during inheritance. Okay? Ang overloading, it only happens during encapsulation. Okay? So, ana ha, timan ninyo na. So, balik ta dire. If, let's say, mag-overload ko sa is empty. No? I-overload na ko ni siya. So, public function is empty as string. So, let's say, ayaw na lang ni. Okay, I cannot make, wait, try. Try saan ako. Overload. So, same name. And then I have here, let's say, by val, val. Overloads. Wait, ano daw? Function it must be declared overloads. Ayan. Sorry. Okay. So, as you can notice, pwede ko mag-overload as long as ibutang na ko siya overloads. So, this is what we call method overloading. Same name but different behavior. Lahi-lahi silang behavior. Pero dili ni siya best fit sa SMT. Unless SMT, dili ni siya dre. Dito na lang ko sa tinana ko ni overload. Dito na lang ko sa mag-overload sa let's say there is a travel. Kanina lang ko mag-overload. So let's say I have here overloads and then sub man na, no? And then I'll create here as string. Ayan. So only but return types. So let's say utang na ko dire kuan distance and basta anything na this one requires whatever you want, let's say message na lang as string. Okay, so if you can notice, I have here two different methods with the same name. So ibutan ako return kanina ako ibutang. This is, let's say, dim hold equals like this, and then this is, let's say, hold equals distance plus blah. And then, butan ako diri sa peak, sa baba, hold equals distance is added. Sa ba? Sige na lang. Sa may distance is consumed. I know. Liters consumed. Ano na lang. So, this will return a string. So, as you can notice, I have two methods which are travel. So, both are named travel, only that they have two different behaviors. The first one returns a string value and with two parameters, while the other one has only one parameter. Okay? So, that means na kung tawagon ako ni diri sa form or sa travel, I can call two different na methods. The travel na let's say may kog liter and then magbutang ko diri og message hello there. So that means this is what we call method over loading. So this means polymorphic method or polymorphism. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. No, so encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So basic principles of OOP were already discussed. So in our module 2, I'm going to discuss advanced OOP principles together with system integration. So next time, atong buhaton would be maghimo ta og module or class, and then i-connect we will use this module or class to connect or integrate our database server. Okay, so before I'll end, any questions so far? Do you have any questions erase regardless kung sa topic ba or sa exam or whatsoever? Do you have any questions, guys?
Pwede sa exam, sir. Pwede sa exam.
Ano daw?
Pwede ba daw sa
Apil ni sir. Apil na sa
apel.
exam, sir.
Yes, apel. Ano man?
Wala lang, sir.
Nakuha ninyo
mag-code ta sa exam, sir?
Opo, mag-code ta. So, basic tapos OOP. Mga onday ta, guys. Ano to? I-post ang
kaning record, sir.
sige, i-post na ko after our meeting.
Sir, thank you.
Welcome. So, I'm going to dismiss you early para maka-study pa mo ani. Dire? Kani sila? So, kaning SCP 1, 2, 3 and .NET, no? Mao na ang coverage sa exam. Multiple choice. Imong kabala ka, multiple choice A, B, C, D. That's for written. And then, sa hands-on, maghimo mong program. Okay? Nakuha, class?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So, is there anything else? Kaya mag-dismiss na ako sa inyo ha para maka-study-study na mo gamay.
Sir, pwede mga yung code, sir.
Mangayo na lang mo code or ang video unsa man?
Pwede sa video, sir.
Sige. Unsa man, video or code or video and code? And
Both na lang, sir.
sige. All right, post na ko later sa Schoology. Sani? Edmodo. Okay? Sige. Napay concern? Wala na?
Wala na siguro, sir.
Okay. So, attendance sa ta. Kinsa itong ganina? Sige lang, ako lang itong attendance sa ta, no? Magtanggal sa og sharing. All right. So, good luck sa examination, guys, for tomorrow. And we still have 4, 5, gamay naman di ay 1 hour. Kape na lang. Anyway, you still have 1 hour para makastudy gamay. Rest assured that I'm going to send you the codes as well as the video for today. And I would like to reiterate the examination will be written and hands-on. For written, 50 points, multiple choice questions, night racing, and then for hands-on exam, of course, hands-on laboratory practical examination. All right, so thank you guys for having you here, and have a great day ahead, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Sige po, bye-bye.
Yes, sir.